By the way, let's have that Give, Send, Go page up because I want to promote it. There's a legal bill that you have to pay, and this is called "The Truth Is Not for Sale in Our Family." If we could make that image full screen on the TV so I can read that. They tried to silence me. Live Not by Lies by Solzhenitsyn is linked by you. And this was interesting. You know, Solzhenitsyn is one of my favorites. And it seems like this was the inspiration for you a little bit. Had you read this prior to?
It's a great essay.
It's a great essay. We're called upon to step out into the square and shout the truth, but let us at least refuse to say what we do not think. Our way must be never knowingly support lies. Has the time come for us to stand straight as an honest man, worthy of the respect of our children and our contemporaries? And then from this day onward we, and then he writes, shall not sign a lie, publish a lie, paint a lie, cite a lie, demonstrate, raise a hand. He has all these items. And then he says this, which reminds me of you. Yes, at first it will not be fair. Someone will have to temporarily lose his job. Solzhenitsyn is talking about you. For the young who seek to live by truth, this will at first severely complicate life. But he says, flames will not engulf your body. Your eyes will not pop out from the heat. Your family will always have at least a piece of black bread to wash down with a glass of water. Now, that's very abstract, written 60 years ago.
Do you know why he wrote that?
Tell me.
So for perhaps the younger generation that is unfortunately not taught Solzhenitsyn in so many of their classes anymore, the reason he wrote that, to my knowledge and understanding, it was an answer that he gave to the question of how did the gulags emerge? How did communism manifest to put so many slaves into gulags and death camps in the Soviet Union? And for those who may not know, Alexander Solzhenitsyn is a Nobel Prize winning laureate for his literature about a book called The Gulag Archipelago, which is his account of living as a slave in the work camps and death camps of Siberia in Soviet communist Russia. And they asked him, at some point, somebody, how did this happen? How do we make sure that this doesn't happen again? And that essay was the answer to that. There's many ways to avoid communism and slavery and oppression and tyranny. Volumes and volumes of encyclopedias, podcasts can be described about. There's a lot to do to fight that fight for freedom. However, he distilled it into living not by lies.
Living not by lies.
That essay explains that when he describes everything that you were relating, that's what he was telling the person about how to avoid the march to gulags and death camps. It was that piece by piece, little tiny sliver, people gave in to the lie. They went along with the little lie, the middle lie, then the big lie. And soon enough, they're in a work camp in Siberia and Russia as slaves because the country caved to the lies. Things that were so obvious, but nobody stood up to say anything or do anything to. And things that you might, as kids, you think of the emperor doesn't have any clothes story, or speak up and say, hey, this is pretty obvious. He's saying that's how it happens.
Little by little. You compromise on, like Jordan Peterson talks about, you give them an inch, and suddenly you're a mile away. You're in a Soviet gulag just because but most people don't operate like this. But you do.
Well, and others do too. And I think that my hope and my what I've been encouraged by is seeing that others are standing up and speaking that truth too. Inspired a lot by what you guys do. You've done that your entire career and speak the truth. You've revealed the truth. And that is so important. And it inspired me decades ago when you started. I remember your old stories. It was
Pimp coat. You saw that outside.
Oh yeah, and so how does that happen? Like he said, some people will have to lose their jobs, and that's a scary thing. It's happened to me now. It's happened to many people, but you know what? It's happened to so much worse to others. And one thing I would say to people too is, we're here as a country that has the First Amendment to speak freely, to do journalism, because of people who died in war, in combat, and sacrificed limbs, health, and life to protect and preserve those rights. And those wars weren't fought by childless men.
Those wars were not fought by childless. They all had children, and they gave up their lives.
They were willing to do it even knowing the price.
That's a big price. Let's put that give, send, go back on the page, guys, so we can have that, because I want to quote some of this. This is your give, send, go page. $200 so far. We love you. We're praying for you. And this is really inspirational. My integrity, like the truth, is not for sale. I'm reading from this give, send, go page. What's the URL of the page, by the way? Rick, what's the URL?
I will
Okay,
find it.
we'll
and
find it.
say it.
That's-
But it's a
You just click on
gobbledygook of a few letters.
Maybe it's written like a true scientist. GJ3. It's like RC. It's like Star Wars.
Yeah.
GJ3G6.
And I would.
But let's go back to the. I walked away with no money. But all my integrity, I'm also still free to speak the truth, and you cannot put a price on. Guys, if you could scroll up, because Rick's head is blocking the text.
I'm so sorry.
So just scroll. No, it's not your fault. Just scroll up. We instantly lost our health insurance, our mortgage. My wife was only one kidney. So you're a neuroscientist who worked with NASA, and now you're mowing lawns.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're literally mowing lawns for $30.
Yeah, $130 a month. I'm working on my neighbor's lawn. Maybe a few more if I'm lucky. But it's one of those things that is kind of a badge of honor. You got to pay the bills. You got to take care of business. You got to provide for your family. You got to provide food, and that's not enough to provide the food. But the first thing you do in these situations is you don't let moss grow on a stone, and so you got to keep that stone rolling. Moss doesn't grow on a rolling stone. You got to keep active, keep your feet moving, don't wallow in self-pity, and do everything you can to make it happen. So I'm a worker, and the first thing I did was my very first job. I was mowing my neighbor's lawns in Mount Prospect, Illinois, and age 11. And so whatever you can do to make that work, that's what we're doing to help pull things together.
You didn't even hesitate. You just went right to working.
Yeah.
Mowing lawns.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do what you know, and then you figure out what you don't know, and you start to do that too. But I was inspired. I remember the commander of my mission at NASA. He was a civil servant, and during different furloughs of things in the government, he started. He's a PhD in biomedical engineering from Rice, and was a test flight engineer for the T-38 jets. Rebuilt all their glass cockpits. Furlough happened. He's got 5 kids. He broke his toe because he was working as a furniture mover, moving furniture in between. Because you do what you can, and you do what you have to as a father
to earn money to just enough money to live, even if it's not enough, just something.
Well, something starts. You can't. It's better than nothing, and he keeps moving.
Well, a lot of people would probably pity themselves in the circumstance that you're in. I mean, you were at NASA. You're a tenured professor, and do you find yourself doing that to yourself? You're a human being.
No, I don't. I'll tell you. It's funny. I just had a quote come to mind from my time in Jersey. Bill Clinton once told me that in life, as in politics, nothing's permanent. He came to our school in Jersey.
Did he say that in the school?
He told me.
He told you personally?
Yeah, I mean, I was there.
I think I'm familiar with that quote.
Yeah, it's a good quote.
It's a great quote. Well, it's also like, this too shall pass.
Yeah. And so, you draw upon that. And like I said, it's a badge of honor. It was, I don't, it is weird. Sometimes, you think back. So, yeah, I'm you think sometimes you're out there sweating in the sun. I like sweating in the sun. But, when I'm out there, and I'm mowing my own lawn for years anyways, right? So there's no big deal on that respect. But like, I've always thought sometimes I'm out there in Florida heat, covered in mud and bugs, doing whatever, you can extra to make ends meet. In this respect, doing some yard work. And for a moment you might self-pity, for a moment you might wallow. And I'm a human being, so you get there every now and then. But I think back to Genesis and the instructions to Adam from after the fall in the Garden of Eden was, you are assigned to toil in the soil now. That's what you will do. That's okay. That gives great strength. I'm like, yeah, okay. So no, I think that's how the devil gets in our head to play tricks on us and get us to commit the sin of being daunted by doubt and worry, which is not trusting God.